Hey, I just wanted to do a quick video to bring you up to speed on what you missed at session 2 of Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. And one of the things that we started with in this second session was we had everybody report on what it was that they noticed, what was different in the week between the two sessions. As you recall, we did some clearing last week, and the people that were here talked about how different things showed up in their lives. Some people didn't notice anything. Other people did, and they said that they noticed they weren't triggered by things that they're typically triggered by, or they had a much milder reaction to things that might normally get under their skin. And they also talked about how they had less stress. So I thought that was a good testament for the clearing we did last week. Then we went on, I'm sorry, there's bugs and they're bothering me. So then we went on to do a review about a review of the content that we talked about. So we talked about, last week we talked about us being energy beings, and that everything's made of energy, and that we have an energy bubble around us that comes from the emotions that we feel inside. And that energy bubble can be picked up by others. We can also pick up other people's energy as well. We talked about how the vibration, there's a vibrational chart, hierarchy chart, and that vibrations range from low to high, with the lowest being shame and the highest being love. And so we talked about those different energy frequencies, and that it's, we want to be above the red line, which is the contentment, if you will, because that's where the energy becomes more attractive and more interesting to other people, and things align with us better when we want them to happen. We also reminded ourselves that beliefs have an energy, and our beliefs can be both positive and negative. I guess we definitely have neutral beliefs too that probably have an energy to them, but it doesn't pull you either to the negative or the positive side. So we talked about that, and the bottom line was that for us to make changes in our lives, we need to make changes in our thoughts, because as you remember, there are chemical reactions that take place when we have a thought that triggers a chain reaction, not only in our brain but throughout our entire body, of chemicals that then cause us to respond in a certain way. And I don't mean necessarily action in a certain way, but that can be part of it. But the energy that we then feel, the emotions that we then feel, either gears us up and moves us forward, or does just the opposite, maybe drops our energy level down. And so we just revisited those general concepts about energy. And then what we did was we went and reviewed our emotional self-assessment. So remember last week I had a list that I gave everybody that had things like negative self-talk, imposter syndrome. I'm trying to remember some of the topics that were on there. And I asked you to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10 or 0 to 10. And it was about how often you were triggered or felt those emotions in your life. And so what we did was I asked everybody to look at their top 4. And then we put those top 4 on the whiteboard and wrote them out, and everybody kind of basically voted on them. The one that it was so funny because the one that had the highest number of votes, if you will, as happening most often was procrastination, which of course was the topic that I had planned to clear this week. So it all worked out well. So it was interesting though, because to see what people said, they were very much clustered. The answers were, and that was before they knew what other people were going to write. So I think that's telling right there. Then we moved on to talk about the Palace of Possibilities. And remember, I gave you an article last week that talked about that we live in a palace with all of these different rooms, but we have writing on the walls that say, you can't come in here, or you don't deserve this, or this isn't for you. And it's unfortunate for us because those beliefs, those writings on the wall, as it's described in the article, are the things that keep us from having all that we possibly could in life. And you know what? They're just made up constructs in our mind. They're not really real, yet we live by them as if they're real. So what I asked everyone to do was I asked them to look at their palace of possibilities, and remember the exercise was to write down an affirmation as if it had already happened. So something you want, you were to write down something you want as if you already had it. And because some people forgot to do their homework, we took a few minutes to do that. So if you haven't done it, I want you to go ahead and stop the video and take a few minutes if you've got, your journal nearby. And I want you to write down the things that you'd like in your life and in your business. And then make that on the left-hand side of your piece of paper. And I want you to write those statements as if they are already done. I am a blah, blah, blah. I have blah, blah, blah. And try to avoid using the word want, because when we use the word want, it puts us in a continuous wanting stage rather than a I have it stage, which is a totally different energy. We don't want to be in the energy of want. We want to be in the energy of have, because that's how things are attracted to us. Make sense so far? Okay. So on the left-hand side of your paper, you're going to write the things that you want to have. I know I'm using that language, but the affirmation, and then in affirmation form. So I am I am a successful attorney. I have 72 clients at any one time. Or I am a realtor who contracts $500,000 homes and above, or attracts people with large discretionary income for a second home. Something like that, right? So it's all as if it's already happened. Then on the right-hand side, I want you to write, and it'd be great if you worked on these one at a time so you have space on the right-hand side. So on the right-hand side, I want you to write what are all the little statements that what we call tail enders, the yes buts. Yes, I am a successful realtor. Yes, but, right? Yes, but I haven't been doing it that long. Or I don't know enough people. Or whatever those yes, but statements would be, like we said, tail enders, write them in the right-hand column, because that right-hand column are going to be the statements that we want to neutralize or delete from our system, because that puts the big red X on the door of possibilities, right? The palace of possibilities. You can't go into that room because you're not there yet. But what if that handwriting with that big red X wasn't there, and you didn't have all that tail ender stuff, that yes but stuff on the walls of that room? You could already be in that room, right? So we are doing a little bit of a mind game, but it's to help us identify the things that are actually holding us back. So just a quick overview. Left-hand side of your page, you're going to put the things that you are wanting, but in affirmation form. And on the, sorry, I got distracted for a second. On the right-hand side, you're going to list all the reasons why you don't have that or could not have that, or what's standing in your way. Okay? That information is going to be super helpful in the long run. So if you haven't already done that exercise, stop the video and take a few minutes to do that, because I think it's going to be really, really helpful. Welcome back. Hopefully you took a few minutes to work through the Palace of Possibilities activity that I assigned you, and that you have some things to look at. Okay, so those are the things that we're going to work on when we move into the next stage of our training. So the next part that I want to tell you about is the emotional freedom technique, or EFT, emotional freedom technique. So EFT is a modality that helps change the way our brains fire. So it's kind of like a rabbit trail or a deer trail in the woods. You know it's a deer trail because it's usually very narrow, it goes through a bunch of brush, it's not always in a straight line, and it's traveled frequently. And so when it's traveled frequently, that grass is kind of, and weeds are kind of mowed down, right? And so that's what happens in our brain. We end up with patterns of thinking, just like a deer trail. And because it's the path of least resistance, we take it. And that's what happens in the woods. The deer take it, the rabbits take it, the coyotes take it. And so it just becomes the path of least resistance because some animal or animals cut that path to begin with through the brush. So what we want to do is change up our thinking, change up our pattern of thinking. If we're always thinking, oh, I'm not, a perfect size 12 or whatever, I'm not a 12 anyway, but if I were, then we may sometimes think that we have to do things in a certain way or have things a certain way, and that neural pathway gets fired over and over and over and over again. And they say that neural pathways that fire together, wire together, meaning what happens is the more that we keep thinking the same old thoughts over and over and over again, they become hard and fast in our thinking and our belief systems. But what if they're false? What if they're wrong? What if they were all developed on false data or bad data? Well, then what, right? So we've got to be able to undo those, and EFT is one of the ways that we can do that. For those of you I've worked with before, then you probably may have already done tapping with me, and you'll recognize it when I do this. If you haven't done tapping with me, no big deal. I'm going to teach you how to do it right now. And if you've already done it, you probably followed along but didn't really learn it. So today I'm going to teach you exactly how to do it. Okay? So just a little bit more about EFT. It uses the same the same energy meridians that an acupuncture uses. So an acupuncturist uses the energy meridians in the body that tend to terminate. They run all over our body, down our arms, legs, etc. But they terminate in our hands, the bottom of our feet, and the top of our head. Hundreds of them are in the top of our head, right? As well as our hands and feet. That's why sometimes when you're having a foot massage and all of a sudden you feel a pain in your shoulder or the middle of your back and you go, whoa. Well, that's that energy, that's that current running through your body. Your foot isn't attached to your mid back, right? But the thing is that the energy meridian is. And so it's connecting and communicating. So what we're going to do is get those more in alignment and traveling the right ways using that energy. Okay. So with EFT, what we're going to do is we're going to start with a karate chop. And this is the side of the hand, and we're just going to use our fingertips and tap on the side of our hand. And it doesn't matter which one you do. I just developed doing it my right hand on my left hand, which is opposite to you, I'm sure. And then, it's just what I've always done. So it doesn't matter where you start, okay? Wherever you start is fine. And we're going to start saying what is true. We're going to say, even though this situation is true for me, and I'll give you a real example in a minute, I love and accept myself anyway. So we're going to say that phrase 3 times. Even though this situation is true for me, I love and accept myself anyway. And with one more time, even though this situation is true for me, I love and accept myself anyway. Okay? Then what we do is we go to the individual tapping points. Those tapping points are your inner eyebrow. So you can tap with 2 fingers. You can tap on the left eyebrow or the right eyebrow. It doesn't matter. So you can do both or one. When things are really intense, I'm feeling something very intensely, then what I'll do is tap with 2 hands because I want that thing moved out right away. Okay? The next point is the side of the eye, the occipital bone right next to the eye where it dents in, okay? And then the next one is under the eye. You want to be gentle here. It's soft tissue right there. Under the nose, under the lip, so you're in that divot, not on the chin, but in the divot, under the lip, then the collarbone, and then under the arm, and one more after this. Now this is right where the bra strap goes, under the arm. You can also do it like this, which is also a good one, okay? And then top of the head, and I use all 5 fingers on the top of my head, okay? So let's do let's do a topic together, okay? So I'm gonna do weight loss because I've been working on my own weight loss. So I'm gonna start with, and I want you to do it along with me and I'll guide you, okay? The more practice we have, the better, and you can do this then on your own, okay? Okay, we'll start here. Even though I'm not at my ideal weight, you say the same thing. I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I'm still not at my ideal weight, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I'm not at my ideal weight, I love and accept my body just the way it is. Now we're at the eyebrow. I am still not at my ideal weight. It's a struggle trying to lose weight. Under the eye, my emotions cause me to eat when I'm not hungry. Under the nose, my ideal weight seems so hard to reach. Chin, I will never reach my ideal weight. Collarbone, I hate dieting. Under the arm, it never works. I'm never gonna reach my ideal weight. Okay, take 2 deep breaths. So you may be wondering why I said all those negative things about reaching my ideal weight. And the truth is that I'm trying to acknowledge all the things that I say to myself that are unsupported. And when I bring them out and put them out into the light, then it starts to dissipate their power and they have less of a hold on me. So I encourage you to exaggerate if you need to. Excuse me. I lost my notes. I encourage you to exaggerate if you need to. I encourage you to exaggerate if you need to. Well, even if you don't need to, exaggerate anyway. Because the more exaggerated it is, the more your brain goes, that's silly, that's stupid, I don't need that belief. And it works more effectively. So practice this. So I gave everybody a cheat sheet on the tapping. I will give you one when I see you in our next session. And we will use EFT some more next time to practice getting rid of some additional challenges. Let's tap on one more round of things so you'll get some practice in, okay? So let's do procrastination, alrighty? So if you'll start here with karate chop. Even though I'm procrastinating on a big project I have, I love and accept myself. Even though I'm procrastinating on that big project I need to get done, I love and accept myself. Even though I'm procrastinating on that big project, I love and accept myself anyway. Inner eyebrow. I have so procrastinated on getting started. I can't seem to, side of the eye, I can't seem to get started. Under the eye, I find so many other reasons not to get started. Under the nose, I don't know why I'm such a procrastinator. Chin, I just can't get that project started. Collarbone, Well, maybe I can get it started, but I can't get it completed. It takes so much. Under the arm. I can't get that project completed. Top of the head. I am such a procrastinator. 2 deep breaths. So what do you notice after these 2 tapping series? Are you noticing any swirling energy, or do you feel calmer or lighter? I think I feel a little lighter. Last night people reported that they felt lighter as well. And I encourage you to use these tapping techniques and to practice this week before our next session. If you have my book, it's chapter 12 in my book, and it gives you all of the tapping points. And with this video link, I'll also send you a copy of the image with all the tapping points. Alrighty? Let's see if there's anything else that we talked about. Oh yes, there was. I asked everyone to pay attention to what I call positive evidence. So if you've been working on something and trying to clear it, and it's been a problem, and you've tapped on it and worked through some of that stuff, some of those tail enders about whatever it is, why it won't work for you, then I want you to pay attention to what's going on around you. Notice where things are actually moving, maybe not that exact thing. It doesn't have to be that exact thing, but where things are moving in a positive direction, where you notice that people are more open and friendly and welcoming, or where you notice that you were able to get something started, and the thing you might be procrastinating on. And then just looking for things going and working in your favor. That's what we call positive evidence. Again, it does not have to be exactly the thing that you've been working on. It will be, sometimes it's outside that. But it's, again, paying attention to the positive evidence is a major thing. So just to give you an example of what positive evidence looks like when it is specific. I have a friend that is my law of attraction partner who lives in St. Augustine, Florida. We talk every Monday morning. And this past Monday when we talked about what we wanted to create this week. And I said I wanted to create new clients. And so what was so interesting is we always talk about what we've manifested in the week prior, what has shown up for us. And then we talk about what we want to have happen in the next week. And so I said new clients. And so when we got off the phone, I checked the voicemail on my business line, and on my business line was a new client. That is positive evidence. So when you're specific about what you want and write down your intentions, then it's easier for the universe to help you manifest that in your life. So be as specific as possible when you're requesting what you want, and when you're clearing out the other things, then take your time and be specific as possible there. So we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching the video. Bye.